feel. Everybody wanna see what it's like.
Hey everybody, it's Lisa aka 80s Child coming at you with another Suits review for season 9, episode 2, Special Master. I'm sorry this one is coming a little late. Like I said, I didn't have the chance to watch the episode live as it aired on Wednesday. I was kind of busy with my children, so I had to wait till the next day to watch it, and then I had to take a little time to get all the notes together and make sure I had a good understanding of what was in the episode. So now that I do, and I actually have the opportunity, because I tried to do this yesterday, but I didn't. It didn't work out. So now we're gonna do this again. So, Special Master, obviously in the title, refers to our new special guest and bane of everyone's existence, Faye Richardson, played by Denise Crosby. She has been sent by the New York bar to make sure that the firm is flying right because they've been fucking up in a serious way. In the past, they might have been able to shield themselves from fallout and kind of move on without anybody saying, but as the 9 years have gone by, too much has happened. Too many occurrences, too many red flags that the bar is no longer going to stand by. And since the firm was uncooperative in the first episode of taking Zane's hand down, I think if they had, when they were asked, that the bar might have kind of let it go, but because they wouldn't even entertain the idea, I guess the bar feels they have no other choice. That they have to step in. So they bring in Faye as a special master, and she has complete control of the firm. She decides which cases they take, which cases they don't take, which clients they keep, which clients they get rid of. She decides how they allocate their funds. Basically, she's the iron glove, like she controls it all. So it really doesn't matter what title Harvey or Lewis or Samantha or Alex have. The point is, she's in control. Nobody likes this, and they go out of their way to try and figure out how to get rid of her. That's the exact kind of thing that she doesn't want them to do because it proves her point. When the episode starts off, Katrina's in there early trying to figure out where to go next, and she's the first one to find out that Faye is there. I'm assuming that Lewis must have told her. So she gives Samantha a call and tells her, she catches her at the gym doing her morning workout, and she says, "You need to come down right now, we're in crisis mode." So while that's going on, Donna and Harvey have decided that enough time has passed from the initial insanity of can the firm hold on after this mess, to actually go and tell Lewis, at the very least, because Lewis right now is their closest friend, to make sure that he understands that they are in a relationship, a committed one, and that they're happy. He doesn't want it to blow back on it. They don't want it to blow back. So they feel like now is the right time. And well, I'll just say, I'm not going to comment on the mankini, because, Lewis is always good for a laugh, and Harvey is always good for giving him one. So that scene was definitely funny in its own crazy way. But it takes a bit for him to understand what they're trying to say. And Harvey's got it right on the ball. Like, how did this dude graduate law school? He's one of those cases, Lewis is one of those cases of he's great book smarts, but not a lot of common sense. And because the idea, I think it's more because the idea of Harvey and Donna together is so anathema, because they've known each other for so long, and they've been friends and colleagues and for so long, that the whole idea of them going any farther than that was kind of crazy, especially Harvey. So, it's weird for Lewis to even grasp the concept. But he is definitely happy for them, so that's one hurdle. Now, I don't know when they're going to tell everybody else in the firm. I think that they would have probably done so in quick succession if it had not been for Faye showing up. So everybody comes in, and they're sitting down in the boardroom trying to figure out what the hell's going on and how they're going to address this issue. And then Faye shows up. Now, Harvey's adamant he's not letting somebody walk in his house and tell him what he can and can't fucking do, period. Of course, that's part of the course with Harvey, but what he doesn't understand is that Faye has the permission of the bar, and that if he doesn't do what she says, he's out. Like, no holds barred. She lays it down pretty thick. She's like, look, you could either do what I say and obey my rules, or there's the door. Don't let it hit you where the good Lord split you. Basically, she's not about feelings when it comes to this, because she, according to opposition research, they find out that she actually censured and fired her own husband for an infraction, who was also an attorney. So if the man can do that to her own husband, what do you think she's going to do to people that she has no relationship with whatsoever? She does not care about the firm's clients. She does not care about their personal issues. All she cares about is making sure that they are flying right, that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing within ethical standards, period. And her first order is for them to take Zane's name off the wall. And of course, Samantha's like, absolutely not. You touch his name and I will figure out a way to bury you. And of course, this is exactly what Faye was talking about. This is exactly the type of thing that she's trying to get him to stop. But this is Samantha's go-to. If she doesn't like you and she wants to get rid of you, she'll find some dirt to bury you with, which is not necessarily the most ethical thing to do. So they realize what they're up against at this point. They have no choice but to do as she says. Samantha's adamant she's not going to take Zane's name off the wall, but there's no getting around it. It's happening. It's done. So Lewis goes down to IT to talk to everyone's favorite IT guy and brings a huge, massive book of New York law. It's like New York Bar Association bylaws. It's like 3,000 pages. It's huge, like this big. And he slams it down onto the guy's desk and he's like, look, I need you to figure out, read through this, find something in the bylaws, some loophole, some workaround that can get her the hell out of here. I don't care what you have to do. Write a program to collate all this so that you can look it up. And at first the guy's like, this is not my job, you know what I mean? And is this even legal? I mean, she's here all the time. If she finds out that I've done this, she'll fire me. Like, come on. And he's like, I don't care. You work for me, not her. So he goes about the business of hacking, which will come up later in the episode. So the big case that the episode is tackling is a pro bono. And he's an old friend of Samantha's who she served with when she was in the Army. Marines. Yeah. They were very close, very good friends, as close as you can be when you're in a situation like that and you saw a lot of combat. She left before he did. She left and he did another 2 tours. And, coming from someone like, such as myself, who's been in before, who served for 8 years, I understand. I mean, I don't have PTSD because I didn't actually see armed combat myself. I was in the Navy on a ship, but I mean, we saw enough that it's not something you're likely to forget. He went there, he stayed, and when he came back, he never really left. His employer, he worked for a big company, they terminated his employment because they said he was unreliable, he would show up late for work. They had spent money out to send him to doctors, but he didn't seem to get any real help from it. He was aggressive with employees, and it got to the point where it was untenable him being there anymore. So they let him go, and he's upset. He wants his job back. Samantha, over the course of the episode, is trying to convince him to accept the fact that he has PTSD, because as soon as the employer started listing off all the infractions he was accused of doing. I was like, that's textbook. It's PTSD, severe. To the point where the guy's office, his employer had taken the extra step of arranging the furniture so that his back would always be to the door, which is textbook for someone who has PTSD. What I don't understand is if the company obviously knew it, obviously took steps, but still fired him anyway. I mean, he's a protected veteran. But there was a point that they did make, which did make sense. So she's going out of her way to help him because she feels a profound sense of guilt that she left him there when she got out and came back home, that she didn't stay with him like she promised she would. And she feels like it's her fault that he's wound up in the position that he's in. And it's not just about him. I think this is some part of her not being able to work through the emotions of losing Robert and feeling a profound sense of hurt and guilt that she wasn't able to save Robert too. So she's kind of taken that out by doing this. She is immediately confronted by Faye, who tells her that she cannot take the case, and that if she does, she can't use company resources, she can't use attorneys here, she can't use anything. She has to do it all herself. And she's like, that's fine. I don't give a damn. If I have to pay for it out of my own pocket, then fine. So she goes to Katrina for help because they're taking on a pretty big company and she can't do it alone. Katrina is a bit of a stickler for rules too, and she doesn't want to heat Faye up any more than they've already been lit. So she's hesitant to get on her bad side even more. Samantha says, look, if it comes to it and you need me to, I will foot the bill for this entirely. I will pay out of my own pocket and you can do the legwork. You and I can do the legwork on our own time after work. Fine, whatever, if it makes you comfortable. Which is exactly what Katrina eventually tells Faye when Faye confronts her. Because apparently there's nothing that goes on in this firm that Faye doesn't know about. Somehow she's got eyes and ears everywhere. So a roundabout way with that story, as I was saying with the PTSD issue, is that the guy has been struggling not to go to he doesn't want to be diagnosed as PTSD. I don't know if he feels that he doesn't want the label, or that he doesn't want people feeling sorry for him, or he doesn't want employers firing him. I'm not entirely sure what his reasoning is. I think it's because he doesn't want to feel less than, or feel like a failure. But Samantha, and because he doesn't have the formal diagnosis in his medical records, he's not technically a protected class. If he had a formal diagnosis, the company could work with him more than they have been, and they would have reason to keep him instead of firing him, or at least give him a bigger settlement. They ultimately offer him $25,000, and he's like, I don't want your money, I want my job. So when Samantha realizes she's up against a wall, and there's very little that she can do, I mean, she's very close to reaching into her bag of dirty tricks and finding some sort of dirt. But when she realizes Faye is breathing down her neck, she knows she can't. Because if Faye catches her, and she's apparently very quick at catching things, she will likely be fired. I mean, there was a point after that first initial meeting with Faye, at the beginning of the episode, when she was still so upset about Zane's name being taken off the wall, she was ready to pack up her office and quit. She was ready to walk out the door. If it wasn't for Katrina and Alex and them talking her down, she probably would have. This is very tenuous. And that's mostly because of her loyalty to Robert. But anyway, at the end of the day, she gets him to accept the fact that he needs help. She admits that, she was wrong to have left him there, and she couldn't help him then, but she's got to help him now. She creates a corporation out of thin air, I guess. And she says he will be paid $100,000 as long as he seeks credible treatment. So he will not want for lack of money or the ability to take care of himself and continue on with his life, but he has to seek credible PTSD treatment. If he doesn't seek treatment, the money goes bye-bye, which sounds pretty strict to me. So they agree on that, and that's the end of that side story. Another bigger issue is Thomas Kessler. Because Thomas has decided to cut ties. Remember in episode 901, he cut ties with the firm completely. He decided he fired them. So they have to give him an exit interview of sorts. He's supposed to come in, sign a piece of paper showing that he's exited the company, blah, blah. Faye wants something more formal. She wants an actual formal exit interview. And Donna's like, he's already coming in to sign the paper. That's not necessary. That's what we do with all of our clients that decide to leave the firm. And she's like, well, this situation was a little bit more sticky, so I'd rather have him come in. It's great that you're doing that. Please forward that to me after he signs it. Thank you very much. But I would still like you to set up an interview so I can speak with him. And that's when the alarm bells start going off. Because if she talks to Thomas, all right, it was hard enough getting him to lie for them once. At the end of season 8, at the hearing, he's not going to do it again. He's just not. And considering the tension between him and Donna and Harvey right at the moment. So they're all afraid that if she talks to him, he's going to come clean with who really broke privilege. And then everybody's going to be fucked. So Harvey takes it upon himself to go speak with Thomas alone. One, to iron out the differences and make sure that there's no hard feelings and that they're not going to kill each other. Over Donna, which it apparently seems that there aren't any. Everything's okay. He seems to just be glad that Donna's happy. Wherever she is, that she's happy. Originally, Harvey has this plan that he's going to make it so that Faye will never have to talk to him by convincing him to stay with the firm instead of leave. If he doesn't leave, there will be no need for an interview. Case closed. So he tries to appeal he tries to appeal to him not to save himself, Harvey, but for Donna's sake. Because this could all come imploding around us. So you can tell it's against his better judgment, but he decides to stay. And Harvey's like, are you sure? Because I know it might be a bit awkward, with the situation between you, me, and Donna. Are you sure this is okay with you? And you're like, yeah. I'm a grown-ass man. I think I can handle it. Not. Well, anyway. So sometime later, he shows up to sign his reaffirmation paperwork to show that he's going to stay. Harvey comes to tell Donna that he spoke to Kessler and everything's going to be okay. And she's like, are you certain? Because he hasn't signed it yet. I know he's coming in, but he hasn't physically signed it yet. Are you sure? Because until he signs it, Faye will be on her ass. And he's like, yeah, it's all good. So Thomas does come in. They have a conversation, and it's not so good. It's nothing against Harvey. It's just that he stops by Donna's office first before he goes to talk to Harvey. And by stopping there first, he realizes, in chatting with her, he realizes that it is too awkward and that there's too much feelings going on there. It's too hard, emotionally hard, for him to stay on as a client and see her like that every day. He's not over it yet. It's too raw. So he signs the exit paperwork instead. And Donna's freaking out. They don't know what else to do. They're on they're at the last rope. They have no other options. They have no other outs. There's just no way. Samantha offers to find dirt on Faye to get her gone, but they're like, no, you can't do that. That's exactly what she's expecting. That's exactly what she was sent here to make sure we didn't do. And if she sees that you do it, she will fire you. So, Donna decides the best course of action is to do what she knows she should have done, which is sit down with her directly and tell her the truth. It's not the entire truth. I mean, she doesn't come clean about who actually, she doesn't come clean about who brought privilege, but she tells Faye that the reason why it's a little awkward with Thomas is because he was more than just a client, that they were in a relationship at one point. And it, and it came to an end right after the hearing. So it's kind of still awkward right now, a little bit painful. So Faye seems to understand. I think she is the type of person who values honesty, someone who is honest enough to come to her and sit down with her and tell her the truth. And just be forthright and be open and not be shady and shit. That's, I think, what she values the most. So she says she understands, and she says it's okay, we don't have to bring him in. Done is done. So that hurdle is crossed. But that doesn't mean that the situation is over. A lot of this episode was primarily focused on Lewis and how he is dealing with losing his position effectively at the firm, because almost every scene that he's in with Faye, she is castigating him for something. You would think she would be more professional, that if she wanted to question him or criticize him, that she would do it in private, like any professional would. But instead, she shits on him in public every chance she gets. And it works him up so much that he very nearly causes this IT guy to have a mental breakdown. Because the IT guy comes and says, look, I need the password in the bar so I can get in, because there's some piece of paperwork that I can't get from the book. I need to get onto their website. And he goes off on like, I don't have to give you your shit. You can do this yourself. Hack it. I mean, I gave you one fucking job. Why can't you fucking do it? But he's so caught up in his anger towards Faye that he's not realizing what he's doing to other people. And it's the typical Lewis thing. When he feels threatened, he lashes out at people. It's just his way. It gets to a boiling point when the IT guy actually, because he couldn't get the password, he has to hack it. He has to hack the New York bar, and he's terrified that that Faye's gonna find out, and he could go to jail for this. He tried to explain to Lewis what he needed, but Lewis didn't want to hear him. And it's Gretchen ultimately who comes to Harvey and Donna and is like, look, you need to go down to IT and talk to Lewis before he literally throttles this poor kid or gets him sent to prison. Seriously, this needs to stop. So they run down there, and Lewis is on the verge of firing this. Actually, he does fire him, but Harvey's and Donna are like, no, because you need a vote of the partners, and I vote no. And he looks to Harvey, expecting Harvey to challenge it, but Harvey kind of looks at Donna like, yeah, I vote no too. But what he was really saying, he might as well have he might as well have been wearing a shirt that says, I'm with her. Because you could tell, obviously, that he was trying to agree with her, doing what he thought would make her happy, which is not a normal Harvey thing to do. Usually he's more bucking of authority figures, and he's more like, he's known to be very opinionated, and he has no trouble stating his own thoughts and feelings about things. But because his relationship with Donna is so new, I think he doesn't want to damage it by pissing her off or disagreeing with her in any way. He really wants this to work, and he wants to be certain nothing's fucked up. So he agrees with her, and even Lewis is like, this ain't right. Just because you're together doesn't mean that you're supposed to agree with her. I can't take your vote for shit because you're only saying it because you don't want to make her mad. And she looks down like, are you? And he's kind of like, no comment. So I think that we might be seeing a little bit more of this. I know that Korsh said that there was going to be some bumps in the road for the relationship. Not that they're going to break up or anything, but that they're still trying to figure out how to be a couple, but yet also be associates and co-workers, and how to balance that, that work-life balance. Because she doesn't want him to bow down to her and to be diminished as a person just because they're in a relationship. She still wants him to be that free-thinking person that she loves, and to have his own opinions. She doesn't want him to cow down to her. That wouldn't be right, because eventually he would begin to resent her if he continued. So they decided not to fire him because Faye walks in. Apparently Faye already knew about it because, Faye's like Donna and she knows everything. So he doesn't get fired, but she says to Lewis, if you'd like to continue in this avenue, and the elevator's right there, you can go pack your things and you can leave. It's as simple as that. There's no getting around me being here. And he is so frustrated with her that Alex decides that they need to blow off some steam. So he takes him, there's no opera playing. He doesn't have any more cats because of Sheila, and he hasn't gotten his Mud membership back. So, now that Sheila's pregnant. So, Alex decides to take him bowling. And at first, he's not a very good bowler, but when he tells Lewis to picture Faye's face on all the bowling pins, he literally bowls a perfect game. Because he pictures her face there insulting him, and he's just throwing the bowling balls and bashing her face in. It's actually quite funny. I never realized how much I needed that Lewis-Alex friendship. They really have something kind of special. It's weirdly interesting because they're very opposite people. Kind of like Harvey and Lewis are also very opposite people, and yet they make very good friends. So Lewis comes clean and tells Alex that he used to wrestle when he was in high school. It didn't last very long, but that's kind of where his aggression comes from. He knows how to pull it out. He's a little more sporty than people realize. He just kind of keeps it down low. And Alex comes clean, and this is, I think, mostly because they wanted to give Dule Hill a chance to shine, a chance to show that hidden talent that isn't really hidden, that everybody knows that he has. Dule Hill, who plays Alex, is a tap dancer in real life. He is a master tapist. And I've seen videos of him online tapping since he was a child. He taps every day between scenes when they don't have anything else to do. That's what he loves. So he tells Lewis that he secretly knows how to tap dance. He took lessons when he was a child, and he actually kind of shows off a little of the tapping. So it's a little way for him to be able to show off his skill set. He blows off steam. When they come back to the office, he's a little bit more sound, or more level-headed. But when Faye shows up again, they're about to leave for the evening. And he gets into his car, and Faye is already there. And she says to him, I really took to heart what you said, because he blasts her ass. When they're in that room with the IT guy, he's just fed up. Even though Alex took him to go bowling and it seemed to help him out, because she'd been on his ass all day and humiliating him and bullying him. And if there's one thing that Lewis is not like, it's bullies. We've already established this, because he was bullied so much when he was a child. So, yeah, he lets her have it. And for a second there, you think, okay, maybe she realizes that she's done wrong. Maybe she's in there because she's trying to apologize. But no, No, she just says to him as they're in the car, oh, you know, I really took to heart what you said, and I'm sorry that I did that in public. So that's why I've decided that that what I'm going to do next, I'm going to do in private here in this car instead of in front of your co-workers. I'm going to do this here in private. And she proceeds to tell him he's no longer a managing partner at the firm, that she's taken over. And then he can accept it or he can leave. And the look on Lewis's face. I know a lot of the next episode, 903. 903 is supposed to be, I think, about Donna and Harvey and her going after their relationship, which should be really interesting. But Lewis, I think, is going to rapidly lose his shit because the firm is his whole life. Yes, he has Sheila and a baby that's about to be born, but the firm always came first with him before he even met her. That place is his life. They're his family, and he's worked extremely hard for a very long time to get where he is now. I know that the thing with name partner was kind of bullshit what he did. He got that way through blackmail, but I genuinely believe that at some point his name would have gone up there. I always have felt that they never quite treated him with the respect that he deserved, and which is why his name didn't go up there earlier. But when they realized how far he would go to get there, I mean, he's worked very hard for this. And he loves that firm like it's his own child, you know. So this is going to destroy him. The fact that she's, in essence, taken everything from him except his family. She seems to be picking them off one by one. She's already told Samantha there's nothing that she can do, and there's pointless to try to dig up any shit on her. It's not going to work. She hasn't directly confronted Katrina and Alex because they're kind of low on the totem pole, as it were, and they haven't really done anything wrong yet that she can see. But I wouldn't be surprised if she goes after them at some point. And Harvey and Donna, she's just waiting for Harvey and Donna to do something stupid. I can tell. She's watching everyone like a hawk to make sure that they do what they say they're going to do. And it's going to be a nasty fight. That's all I can say. There were some things I saw on Twitter. I don't want to mention it on the video because I don't know how many of you guys have seen. Some people were in Toronto last week recording some of the filming. I think they were on episode 906 or 907. No, they're even farther than that. I think they're on like 908 or 909. But the point is, I don't want to say anything about the videos because there's not a lot of context. There's one particular video that I think you all know what I'm talking about when I say, but I don't want to get into the details of it because we don't know the context of it. We only know the short little snippet that we saw, and you can't know what's going on until we know the context. So it would not be fair of me to even begin to elaborate on what the hell is happening. So, yeah, that is 902. It was a really good episode. Denise Crosby was a tour de force. She is one tough broad. And I gotta say, a bit of a breath of fresh air because it is true that these guys have gotten away with a lot of shady shit over the years. And now, you know, it's that come to Jesus moment, you know, when the truth becomes calling. And I think it's really going to be a game changer, like a perspective changer for a lot of them. That's why I am I honestly feel that some people who are working there now may not be working there when the show ends. Not because she fires them, but because I think some of them might feel it's their time to move on. If any of you saw the promo for 903, one of the first scenes in the promo showed Lewis saying that he was quitting. Now, I doubt that Lewis would quit. He is too dedicated to that place to let it burn. I think he might just be reacting in the moment with emotion rather than sense. I do know that the psychiatrist is going to be back, Dr. Lipschitz. So he's probably going to go to Dr. Lipschitz to get advice. But apart from that, I'm not saying anything else about future stuff because I don't know anything. I've only seen tiny little snippets here and there. Like I said, I don't want to comment on things without context. So that is 902. Great episode, great performances. I really feel for all of them. I know this is difficult for them. I know they are trying their best to get by and to deal with all of Faye's garbage. But you know, chickens come home to roost after a while. You know, that's just how it goes. You can't keep pulling the shady shit you're pulling without eventually coming back to bite you. And they had really gone on long enough without getting scathed. It makes sense that at some point they would be. It's not necessarily a fight. It's not necessarily a fight for the firm. It's not a fight for the firm's ability to stay alive. It's a fight for their soul. Like, I think it's going to make them begin to realize that the perspective needs to change about who they want to be as people. This is kind of like what happened with Jessica. I think they're going to have that same come to Jesus, you know, that she had. All right, guys, so that is my review for 902. And I'm sorry it's coming at you a little bit late. I had some things happen this week. I was really busy, so. But I should be on time next week for 903. We'll be watching it on Wednesday, and then we'll review Thursday. I could talk a little bit about Handmaid's Tale because it was a really good episode. But that one should be saved for another video. So I will see you guys next week, guys. Peace out.